I realized I haven't practiced catching Giratina, because false swipe won't work. And I don't have anything like soak to use. I haven't practiced. So I was gonna do this last night, just like how I was gonna talk about the shows today, like I said I would last time. However, last night my friends came over and we watched a movie, and of course I'm gonna talk about that movie. Even though this movie is a little harder for me to break down and go over, I'm not gonna lie. Just want to mention that just before starting this tonight, I pulled my second ever Rainbow EX card in TCG Pocket. Today, I pulled the Rainbow EX, the Rainbow 2-Star EX Entei card from the Secluded Springs collection or set, whatever. So that's the one I got today just before starting this. I got the 2-star Rainbow EX Entei. And also the other pack I opened had the Raikou EX, the 4-diamond one. So pretty cool. But more importantly, I got my second ever Rainbow card that I pulled myself. Not one I got from Wonder Pick. And also, let me see, because I did get a couple of shinies these past couple of days. Okay, let's see, because I wrote them all down. What game am I playing? This one's Ultra Moon. And of course, Giratina. Yes, if it's not Ultra Sun exclusive, then it's usually Ultra Moon. Well, let's see. 2 days ago in Pokemon Go, I got a shiny Charmander, and then a shiny Poliwag, a shiny Rookidee, and then on my sister's phone, I got yet another shiny Charmander, of which I traded it to myself. Because she doesn't play the game. I play the game on her phone. And then yesterday, in Pokemon Go, actually yesterday morning, I was on my way to a job interview. And on the way there, I got a shiny Squirtle and a shiny Weedle. And then later that night, later yesterday night, I got yet another shiny Charmander. Speaking of job interviews, so I got another one planned for next Wednesday. And I'm... Shiny Bulbasaurs? Actually, yes. Actually, you're right. I forgot to write that down, but yes. I did get a shiny Bulbasaur today. On my sister's phone. And you guessed it, I traded it to myself. The sad part is, my sister's phone and my game, we had our lucky trade. And I was kind of hoping to save that for December Community Day. But I guess a lucky trade, a shiny Bulbasaur is nice too. But yeah, I got a job interview scheduled for this coming Wednesday, and I'm not particularly excited for this one. I mean, I should be, but I'm not. I mean, the reason I'm so hesitant about this one is because it's so far away. It's quite a big commute. So either I drive there for work, which is going to be a nightmare, especially considering highway traffics or just winter alone. Or the alternative is I drive to the subway station and then I just subway there. Which, yes, is easier, but the issue with that is I don't know how to use the subway. I've never really ever used the subway in my life aside from, say, when I went to Asia. I don't know the subway tracks, or not tracks, I don't know the subway routes here, because I never used the subway system here. But, all things aside, if I were to get this job, it is a good job, because it's a big company. It's a big, expensive company. So, if I were to get the job, I will find a way to get there to work, whether I like it or not. And, I'm not excited for this because, one, the job is so far away, and two, it's a job. I'm not exactly ecstatic to wake up early in the morning to go and work. But on the other hand, it's like, it's a good job, and even if I don't want it, yes, I want it, because everyone tells me, yes, you want this. My life is a mess right now. It's an absolute mess. Ever since Toby died a couple weeks ago, my life has been rapidly spiraling downwards. I have no idea what's going on anymore. My life kind of can't seem to decide, do I want to find a job? Another job? Or do I want to go back to school, learn something, broaden my opportunities? I tried applying for another course today. Albeit, I did wait a little long to apply. Today is the 6th, and the class starts on the 9th, so literally 3 days from now. And because Bam, my usual self, saving things to the last minute, it's the weekend right now, and there's some sort of issue with me applying for this course, because of course there is. I can't communicate. I can't contact anyone at the school for help on why this issue is happening. And of course, this school that I go to now has this bullshit AI help assistance, like, hey, I'm this new AI helper. Please ask me if you have any questions. Yeah, that didn't help either. So I tried to register because I'm a returning student. So I use my student number as well as my date of birth. Ideally, you would expect both of those together should be able to have the system recognize me, but I guess not. Because I tried both of those, and yes, I double-checked several times if my student number and my own birthday is correct. Yeah, I input those both together. It did not work. It said login unsuccessful. And it's the weekend, so I can't call anyone at the school to see why that's the case. The AI assistance doesn't help at all. So I can't even want to go back to school. Want in quotations. I can't even attempt to go back to school without there being some sort of cosmic roadblock. Do I want to go back to school? No, not really. But of all things, it at least beats job searching, you know? So I gotta wait until Monday for a reply in the email, or to even call the school to see what the hell's going on. Why can't I give you my money to apply to this program, to this course? Not even program, just one class. So I have to hope that Monday I can get an answer. I can apply, and then literally the next day on Tuesday is when the class starts. I swear to God. My school, I can't believe I'm voluntarily going back to my college. I hate my college so much. They squeeze you for every last penny you have, and yet they don't really give you anything in return. They keep on changing stuff with all the money that they siphon out of you. They keep on expanding the campus. They keep on changing their online systems, their websites, their processes for you to book things. They keep on changing everything, and wow, look at that. It doesn't work. The students give you so much tuition money, and you can't even give us a functioning online system for us to book a class. Can I please hunt an Ultra Sun? I will, when it comes to Tornadus. I think it's Tornadus. And believe me, when I went to school, when I was still in school, I saw with my own eyes all the tuition money, what it was going towards. Because I saw in real time they were building a whole new campus. A whole new building attached to the campus. And you know what? I bet in the couple years since I've been there, it probably expanded once again. At least on one hand, they were indeed... This is the biggest compliment I can ever give my college. They're at least more than generous with the free food. They always hand out free food, but that's about it. But given how long ago that was, and that was pre-pandemic, I don't know if they're really itching to go back to handing out free food again. Like, they would literally set up a table with different options of cereal and even different options of milk, and you can line up and just grab yourself a bowl. And then there was this one time where there was this table with entire loaves of bread just for you to take. And then occasionally I would see, the student volunteers or whatever. They hand out to students as they were walking into class little paper bags with a little breakfast, like a banana or an apple, a granola bar. But I don't know if they're doing that anymore. I would not count on it. Especially since that was pre-pandemic times. So anyways, I don't even know if I'm going back to school or not. I don't know if I'm getting a job or not. I have no idea. I give up trying to sort this mess out anymore. Either one or the other happens. Whichever one happens first. Well, I guess that one won the coin flip. And you know what? The other day when I had a job interview, I'll admit I did something rather stupid, or rather I said something rather stupid that would probably get them to not hire me. Not like I entirely want the job anyways, given the distance, the commute, but whatever. And yes, on a little side note, yes, I'm aware that not every job is going to be right outside your door, Majority of the time, you get a job, you're going to have to do a commute, right? Whether it be an hour-long drive, 45-minute drive, hell, an hour subway ride. Yes, I'm aware that jobs need commutes. Doesn't mean I have to like it. Doesn't mean I have to be happy about it. So, during the job interview, I mentioned that I might be going back to school soon. So, if I am, once I get my timetable, I'll have to see if that works with me working here, assuming I get the position. Even if just part-time, I might be going back to school, so we have to wait and see if I get my timetable and see if the schedule works out. Now, my entire family dogpiled on me for doing that. Because they're just like, boy, you stupid. You mentioned that. They're instantly not going to hire you. Because they know you're not completely available. And I'm just thinking, like, when was telling the truth considered wrong in this world? Like, did I bump my head at some point? Like, when did telling the truth become bad in this world? Yes, I'm aware that by mentioning that I diminish my chances much by a lot. It's like, well, this person kind of seems like their timetable is not really that reliable right now, so maybe let's look at other candidates who applied for this position. Yes, I'm aware. But like, well, let's look at the alternative. I get the job, and then I go back to school. It's like, oh, by the way, the schedule you want me to work, yeah, that can't do because I got class this day. And in fact, I just happen to have class on all the days that you want me to work, so I kind of can't do that. Once that happens, they're gonna think like, why the hell did I hire you then? Why didn't you mention before that you have class? You're a student still. Oh, because I was informed to lie during the job interview so that my chances of getting the job would be higher. Don't you think I would be fired on the spot? Like... And like I said, I don't know if I'm going back to school or finding a job. The new school program, or at least the class I want to start off with, would have been introduction to plumbing, of all things. So, you know, it would introduce me to the worlds of, like, plumbing, water heating, piping, all that, you know, all that cleanly stuff. Am I particularly interested? Not particularly. If anything, the money interests me, because it's a good paying job, albeit a dirty job. But hey, being a doctor is dirty also. And that's a fantastically paying job. As long as you're willing to bear with the 8 years of studying. And being face first with disease pretty much every day. So last night when my friends came over, I told them, one of my friends was suggesting, like, don't take it, because this came out of nowhere. You have no interest in it. You never mentioned in your life that you have interest in it. What are the chances that you're going to pay to do the class and you're going to end up not liking it and you're going to regret taking it? He's just like, he suggested, why don't you try it out first? Look up videos on YouTube about this stuff and, you know, try it out first. I'm like, how am I supposed to try it out? What do you want me to do? Take apart my toilet? I'm gonna end up breaking my toilet, and without the knowledge to fix it, I gotta pay someone to come in and fix it for me. So, with this job interview I have coming up this Wednesday, my family is basically telling me this time do not be stupid and mention that you might have a school scheduled. This time do not mention that. And something I hate that my family does, particularly my sister, something I hate that my family does is they always bring up the fact that I'm a boy, so I need to learn more. Be more, you know? So my sister trying to give me the biggest lecture of all of how to ace this job interview. She's just like, mention to her, you're a boy, you're a man, you have stronger fingers, so you can pop in and out of the lenses if you need to, or you're capable of opening and closing the store. Now that alone does not sound like it takes a lot, but it's the whole schedule thing. I can get in early and on time to open the door, and I can stay until closing to close the store. That kind of thing. And then, my sister's just like, if they ask you how you're gonna make it to work, given how far you live away, be like, you're a man, you'll figure it out. You can ride the subway, you can drive there, you're a boy. You know how to, you'll figure out a way. I absolutely hate that my family constantly uses the whole you're a boy argument in order to try to get me to do more. I absolutely hate that. Because I'm not gonna lie, I don't see the opposite ever happening. Or vice versa. What I mean by that is, I don't see my parents ever saying the opposite to my sister. So if they say, to me, you're a boy, you need to learn more, I don't ever see my parents say to my sister, you're a girl, you need to learn less. Because a man's gonna, a capable man's gonna be in your life one day. You don't need to learn things. Or even the opposite of that, you're a girl, you need to learn more in this world. I don't ever see my parents say that to my sister. And you know what? You don't ever see me say that to my sister. My sister is always like, brother, you're a boy. You need to learn this. You need to learn that. You need to be more capable of this and that. You need to be able to do this. You're a boy. I hate that argument. You don't ever see me say to her, sister, you're a girl. Why can't you cook? Why can't you clean? And before anyone says, that's offensive, you're generalizing women to just those tasks. Well, my sister can do the same to me? So, I can't say that, but someone like my sister can generalize things that guys can do and only guys can do because they're guys? Like, you don't see me say that to my sister, because does my sister know how to cook? No. Does my sister ever wash dishes? No. I actually do both of those. You don't ever see me do that. And you certainly don't see me mention, sister, you're a girl. Why don't you know how to cook? Or rather, not even in question form. Sister, you're a girl. You should learn how to cook. Sister, you're a girl, you're a woman, you should be cleaning the dishes, not me. You don't ever see me say that. But yet, she's allowed to be like, brother, you're a boy, you need to learn how to, not even learn. You need to know. Okay, let me rephrase that. So I can't say that stuff about my sister, to my sister, but she's allowed to say things like, brother, you should be able to drive here, like an hour away, or brother, you should be able to do this kind of heavy lifting because you're a boy. I'm a girl. I don't have to. It's like, I hate that argument. I can understand more so my parents saying that to me because my parents are always like, son, you're a boy. You need to learn more. You need to be able to provide for your family one day. And it's like, yeah, I get that. But like, I just kind of feel like they don't need to do the whole you're a boy thing in order to really motivate me. I feel like my parents, and especially my sister, can just say, you need to be able to do this. You should be able to do this because it'll be better for you in the future. Like, that just sounds much better than simply saying, you're a boy, you need to do this. You need to learn this. You should be able to do this because you're a boy. And you know what else? So, I've mentioned before how, me personally, I just couldn't help but notice that every time I try to get up, do something, just as a favor for someone, like, you know what? Let me do this for this person because I don't want that person to tire out. Let me just help this person out by doing this person a favor and getting this task done for this person. Majority of times in my life, I've noticed that every time I do that, every time I take the initiative to do something, it always gets met with backlash. It's always either, why did you do this? Or, you did this wrong. I ran into a shiny Psyduck today in Ultra Sun and hoping that my shiny luck transfers to you. Why, thank you. I could really use a shiny Giratina. But yeah, I've always gotten met with backlash whenever I tried to do something nice. And then, surprise, surprise, from my family, I always get like, useless. My sister always just calls me useless, stupid, absolutely useless, can't do anything right. And then, you know, gee, I wonder why, being called that my entire life, I suddenly have no motivation to do anything. And then when I don't do anything, they call me lazy, and once again, useless. It's like, gee, I wonder why it's a mystery. I don't really want to do anything anymore. Why I just want to do my own thing. Anyways, my life is an entire mess. I have never seen this game on a regular 3DS. I am using... I am used to seeing it either on the computer or through my 2DS XL. Which has a broken R button. Works fine otherwise. Yeah, I think it was my right button. My R button broke as well a couple months ago. And then when I switched it out, that caused my shiny Dialga to have the wrong date. Also, I'm sorry about this garbage quality, because I don't have a capture card for this thing. And the whole zooming in thing for the camera, yeah, I don't know how to fix that. Ah, thank you for the follow. I may repair my Trader 2DS XL and fix the screen and then use this one for trading Pokemon. I've actually considered getting a whole nother 3DS with a capture card just so you don't have to bear with this trash quality. But like, that's an expensive investment. That money could easily go towards a Switch 2. Could go towards a PlayStation 5 for when GTA 6 comes out. Or even a new cell phone. Because I don't think getting another 3DS with the built-in capture card is priority right now. It depends on what's cheaper. I do need to do the transfer since the broken screen, still usable, has my downloaded games. I just need to get the internet hooked up. Well, good luck with that. You know, it's not just me. Almost all my friends are even looking into going back to school just because finding a job sucks. Working sucks. I just couldn't luck out in life, being born into a rich family or getting lucky with, well, I'll just come out and say it, content creation online. I can live with no R button, but I do miss my downloaded games. I got Blue, Yellow, Gold, and Crystal downloaded. I understand that. I don't know why Pokemon doesn't put them on NSO yet. Waiting on my taxes for next year for the Switch 2. I don't know when I'll get a Switch 2. But I'm still... So, I was talking with No Shame in Feeding earlier tonight. I sent him a screenshot of one of his favorite Pokemon, Scolipede. It was just people pointing and calling Scolipede scoliosis. And then he asked me, have I ever played Hollow Knight? And I said, 'cause Silk Song is out? No, I have not. I have not played Hollow Knight. I've been hearing good things about Hollow Knight and Silk Song. I've actually considered maybe playing Hollow Knight here as a first-time playthrough, because I never played the game. I never really looked into the game, never really saw anything about the game. All I ever heard was that it exists and that it's good. I don't know, the game kind of just flew under the radar for me. And now that Silk Song is finally out, what, 8 years after Hollow Knight? Someone like me, I didn't have to wait that, because I never played the original. I don't know, I'm kind of debating. Maybe one day I'll give it a try. But the backlog is already piling up. I kind of, I kind of thought this would be done by now. But life is full of surprises, ain't it? What I had planned for after this probably would have been Persona 3 Portable. But, you know, maybe that can be held off for a bit. Once I get my hands on a Switch 2, Tears of the Kingdom and Kirby and the Forgotten Land will return. I could finally do a playthrough of games like Pokemon Colosseum, XD Gale of Darkness, because I never had those games. I never had the opportunity to play those games. And there's also a ton of Switch 2 exclusives that I'm excited for, like Mario Kart World. Heard mixed things about that. Kirby Air Riders, much more excited about that. And then there's Age of Imprisonment coming out. You know, if we don't get Switch 2s sooner or later, then we're gonna be left behind, because eventually it's going to be only Switch 2 exclusives. They're not gonna put games out for the Switch 1 anymore. Not exactly the best example, but look at the 3DS compared to the DSi. You know. Eventually, the new console, the new hardware is gonna be everything we have. They're not going to produce games for the old system anymore. And then there's still Legend ZA coming out, what, next month? Just over a month from now, which I would definitely be playing here. As much as I was hoping to be done with these hunts before that, yeah, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Because I think after Giratina, I still have 4 entire hunts to do. Yeah, the chances... No, 5. 4 with an asterisk. And unless I can get really lucky like I did with Palkia, I don't think I'm going to be able to get these done before ZA comes out. Aside from Giratina, I still have Cresselia, Tornadus, Thundurus, and Landorus all still to do. And then I have something special at the very end to finish off. Oh yeah, you want to know something else? So tomorrow night is going to be the Season 3 premiere of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. Damn, that release date really kind of just snuck up on me. I forgot it was already coming out. I have a buttload of shows that I'm behind on. Not gonna lie, I haven't really been motivated to watch them lately. And the more shows that come out, the more that just gets piled on. I still need to finish The Boys Season 4, Arcane Season 2, Eyes of Wakanda. I still need to finish all of that. I still have yet to get started on Dead Boy Detective, Sandman Season 2, Peacemaker Season 2. Coming out soon, like I said, Daryl Dixon Season 3, Has-Been Hotel Season 2, Marvel Zombies. So I have a crap ton to watch, and well, there's just only so many hours in a day. Factor in, regardless of if I go back to school or if I get a job, well, that's gonna throw a wrench into the works. Anyways, I believe that's enough yapping. Let me actually go through the movie I watched last night. But first, let me pour myself some water. Can you guys believe it's already September? Where has the time gone? We are less than 4 months away from the year being over. Okay, so last night, my friends came over, and the movie we watched was Longlegs. Now, me just hearing the title, I imagine it would be either something sexy or something about spiders, but no. Longlegs is a horror movie that came out, I think, last year. Yeah, last year. When did it come out? Let's see. People also ask, do Longlegs have jump scares? Yeah, it does. Okay, I see here Longlegs came out July 12th of last year, so it's been over a year since this movie came out. This is a really bizarre movie to go over. The plot is very minimal, and the pacing's all over the place, but that's intentional. I think this movie might have also been written by Nicolas Cage. So I feel like this movie might have been pitched by Nicolas Cage. Let's see here. Anyways, so Longlegs. One thing I did like about this movie, it was the use of the aspect ratios. The movie actually began with the old style, like, box TV aspect ratio. And then I noticed a pattern. Every time it was that aspect ratio, it would signify it's a flashback. And then modern day, the present in the film being, I think, in the 80s or the 90s. Actually, I think it's the 90s. They would use our classic modern cinematic aspect ratio. I think it's in the 90s, because throughout the movie, we literally saw a picture of Bill Clinton in the background. And when was he elected? 1994? So anyways, the movie begins with... Actually, before I say that... So, my friend who told me not to go back to this... not to take the school program... A lot of films that he recommends we watch, he already watched before. Like, he watched with his girlfriend, and then he suggests we watch together. So he said this movie, while yes, it's a horror movie, was more so ambient and horror build-up than actual jump scares. Which, yep, it definitely built up the tension. So this movie opens up with a car driving up to a house in the middle of nowhere. And then we see this little girl notice the car, walk out, and try to see who's in the car. But then we hear the voice of, we presume, her mother, which, yes, it is her mother, trying to call her back. We get more continuations of that scene later on throughout the movie. We cut to the movie's present day, where we meet our main character, Lee Harker. She is an FBI agent, and she is uncovering the string of murders that have been happening for, what did the movie say, a decade? So there are a whole bunch of murders, like entire family murders happening, and there's always the same things left behind. Indicating, you know, one person, one culprit is doing the same crimes, committing the same crimes over and over. We also get really bizarre imagery throughout the movie, which I guess it's a creative choice, sure. Oh yeah, also in the beginning flashback, we see the bottom half of the face of Longlegs, played by Nicolas Cage. Now, you can barely tell it's Nicolas Cage underneath all that makeup. If anything, Nicolas Cage's performance in this movie is more like the Joker. If anything, yeah, I can actually see Nicolas Cage being a version of the Joker. If anything, this movie is kind of like an audition. He's just missing the hair being green. He already has the white clown face makeup. Yeah, he's kind of just missing the green hair. So yes, of course, this being a horror movie, there are cheap jump scares. Now, there's not a ton of plot to break down. This movie is more tension building than actual, like, plot progression. At least until, like, the third act of the movie. Anyway, so the murders have a ton of these letters as a killer's mark. Sheets of paper with a whole bunch of these symbols on it, and Lee Harker is trying to decode it in order to figure out the message, the pattern of the murders. So we get these tension building scenes like Lee in her house, which just straight up looks like a log cabin. For some reason in this movie, no place has bright lights. At all. Entire houses are lit up by lamps. Like, no house, not even the public library, had enough sufficient lighting. So she goes over everything, she studies up, and then she begins to decode the messages from the symbols. She notices a pattern, yada yada yada, and then they figure out one clue in the pattern. It was this one surviving victim of one of the murders. So, if I'm not mistaken, because while watching this movie, basically all of my friends were just blabbering and not really paying attention. I was trying my best to focus on the movie, so I may have missed some details here and there. What the hell was the kid's name again? Ugh. Oh yeah, was it Carrie Ann Camera? I think that was her name. So we have the character of, I think it was Carrie Ann. She was a survivor of her family murders as well. So one thing peculiar about all of these murders, these entire family slaughters, is that it always seems to happen internally. But yet it's always caused by the same person. What I mean by that is, obviously we have a serial killer, Longlegs. But the clues always imply that he's never there himself. He never breaks into the house himself. There's no signs of a breaking and entering or even any sort of scuffle. It always seems like something happens internally where the family just kill themselves. So, it looks like all the clues are pointing to this serial killer is able to somehow make the family turn on themselves. And it's always somehow, I guess, the father killing off the entire family. Except for this time, one survivor. A girl named Carrie Ann Camera. She survived, and now she's in some sort of, like, mental hospital, of course. Now, once again, I may have missed some details, so I don't entirely remember what clues she was able to provide. Well, another big character in this movie is Lee's mother, Ruth Harker, as well as her boss, and I guess, like, chief detective. What was his name again? Oh yeah, Carter. Agent William Carter, played by Blair Underwood. So there was this one small scene earlier in the film where her friend and coworker Carter invited her over. So she got to meet her boss's family, his wife and daughter, and then his daughter invited her to her birthday party happening later on. So keep that in mind. Harker, she goes back to see her mother, and immediately you could tell something's off with her mother. Something isn't right with her mother. But then, you know, her mother blabbering about some nonsense, she eventually says that the answers are all in your room. So Lee goes back to her childhood room and digs through like a treasure chest. And she's able to find a picture of Longlegs himself, the killer. And then, you know, we get that flashback in a different aspect ratio, where when the car pulled up, she went out to meet this really bizarre looking guy, and she even took a picture of him. And then we also saw that, you know, as a parent, Lee's mother came out and was like, "Who are you and why are you speaking to my kid?" Well, there's more to it later on. We'll learn more later on in another flashback. So now that they have a picture of what Longlegs look like, they enact a full-blown manhunt for this guy. And surprisingly enough, they find him rather easily. Barely an inconvenience, because he's just waiting at a bus stop. And somehow the police, the FBI, they know he's there. How did they know he was there? Don't know. But yeah, they catch him, they arrest him, they interrogate him, and in the footage of interrogation, Longlegs is just like, "Is Lee Harker there? I wanted to wish her happy birthday," stuff like that. Like, the killer Longlegs is aware that Lee Harker, the girl he visited, I assume like 2 decades earlier, is now a part of the police force. Well, they begin to piece together that, wait, the pattern doesn't entirely match up because there's one thing missing. And if Longlegs is here, that means he must have an accomplice because his job isn't done yet. He has to have an accomplice somewhere out there. And gee, I wonder who that accomplice would be. It would only make sense that, you know, the movie would introduce one of the characters as being the accomplice, because it would be just bad storytelling if it's just a character we've never seen before. And it's like, gee, I wonder who the accomplice could be. What a mystery. So, Lee goes in to talk to Longlegs himself. Actually, before that, another lady, like, this Asian lady who also works in the police force, she's just like, you know, all the patterns we see of Longlegs' behavior, you know, he worships Satan. He's a Satanist, but, you know, in the United States of America, he's within his right to do that, to be that. And because none of the evidence point to him committing the crimes, committing the murders, they can't hold him. Because like I said earlier, he never broke into anyone's house and slaughtered any families himself, but yet he's somehow tied. So without evidence of him actually committing the murders, they have no evidence to hold him in custody. So before they let him go, Lee wants to go in and interrogate him to find out who the accomplice is. So Lee goes in. Longlegs says a bunch of gibberish, and, you know, his last words are, I think his last words were like, "Hail Satan," and then he just bashes his head into the table until he dies. You know how hard you have to hit your own face onto a table, onto any surface, to the point it kills you? Not in one shot. You know, he just kept on banging his face onto the table to the point his nose was gone. You know how hard you have to hit yourself for that? Like, his nose was gone. Fantastic makeup, by the way. Obviously, it's partially CGI, I assume. But yeah, now Longlegs is dead, and they have no clues on an accomplice. So, something details I don't remember. You know what? I skipped an entire sequence in the film. There was this earlier sequence where where Lee is beginning to decode the clues, and then they go and investigate this barn. For some reason, they investigate the barn at night. The housing in this time period already doesn't have sufficient lights, and yet they go to a barn with no electricity in the dead of night. Not a great plan. So anyways, Lee and Carter, they go to this barn, they investigate because there were clues laid out. Eventually, they go to the top floor of the barn, and I could not help but notice that, wait, these guys went at night, when it was pitch black, and now that they're on top of the barn, there is very bright yellow lights coming out, or coming in from the windows. So it's like, I thought it was night. Where's that light coming from? So anyways, they find a little space in the floor, they open it, and then they find a doll. And I just know these horror movie tropes. I just said out loud, the eyes are gonna open as a jump scare. Yup, just as predicted. So there's also this doll aspect to it. And then throughout the film, we also see this very red room where dolls are being made. You've seen one of them, you've seen them all. Yep. Man, you can just predict these horror movie tropes, you know? But yeah, the doll's eyes opened, so they had forensics investigate it. But I'm just like, no, wait a second. Answer me, how did the doll's eyes open? Did Carter push a button somewhere? Like, how did the doll's eyes open? Though, of course, this movie does deal somewhat with supernatural stuff. So, whatever. So the forensics investigated the doll and realizes that it's handmade. It's beautifully made. It's wonderfully crafted. I don't know why the forensics guy was drooling over the craftsmanship. And then he's also like, there's something inside the head. Some sort of like brain sort of material in there. So that comes into play a little later on, I guess. Dude is a doll maker, collector is a hobby. Wait, hold on. I see the screenshot you just sent me, so let me send you something in. Let me send you something. Hold on. Let me find the video real quick. I have the perfect video to show you. Okay, so once again, my friends were talking over the movie, so something details. They go back to Lee Harker's house, where her mother is. And the Asian cop lady follows as well. So, Lee goes into her house like, Mom, where are you? Mother nowhere to be found. And then we see the Asian cop lady just sitting in the car. Someone approaching from the back. And then slowly lifts up a shotgun. I'm just like, you don't see out of your peripheral vision in the side mirror someone approaching? Not even the rear view mirror. Like, nothing at all. Okay. So Lee hears a gunshot. She looks out the window, and then she sees her mother. Wow, what a surprise. Her mother actually double tap. One gunshot to the other cop wasn't enough. She shot her again. So Lee, now in shock, she runs out with her own gun, because remember, she's a cop, and she's just like, Mom, put down the gun. So then her mom is just like, he's dead. He's gone. We're free. Something like that. But in the yard is a doll of a young Lee Harker. So, her mother's the accomplice. Wow, what a surprise. You know, out of the small pool of characters we were introduced in this movie, one of them had to be the associate. It clearly wasn't going to be the other cops. And we get introduced to her wacky mother, who clearly isn't sane. So it's like, wow, who could have guessed that? So, Lee's mother shoots the doll that resembles a young Lee Harker, that resembles her young daughter. She shoots the doll in the head, and that somehow weakens Lee to the point she literally collapses and passes out. It's kind of like a voodoo doll thing, I guess. Remember, this movie minorly deals with supernatural stuff. Very minorly. Excuse me, let me drink some water. So while Lee is unconscious, we get the full flashback. We get even more context to what happened in the past. So, Lee's mother, Ruth, is telling her daughter a story to go to sleep. And wow, not really the best story to be telling a kid to sleep. Because the story goes like, there was a mother who was living with her daughter in a very secluded area. No one ever visited them. Until one day, someone did. So, if you couldn't tell, she's telling the story of what really happened. There was a man who showed up. A man who worshipped the devil, worshipped Satan. And he came here because he claims that the devil wanted the daughter, the child. But then, you know, the mother said no. And then aside from the storytelling, we get more flashbacks that later on, I assume that night, when it was nighttime, Lee's mother heard someone breaking in, so she grabbed her shotgun, but all the good that did. Eventually, Longlegs got into the house, tied up her mother, and was like, I will have that child one way or another for the glory of Satan or whatever. And then she pleads, like, please, spare my daughter. I'll help you. I'll help you kill others if you spare my daughter. And he's just like, okay. So, for years, Lee's mother has been helping Longlegs kill other families so that her daughter would have the chance to live and grow up. And I think there was a line somewhere in there that once Longlegs left, he also made Lee forget him, like forget the memories of him. How? Magic. Supernatural stuff. Don't worry about it. He just did. And then we just see how she's doing it. Because Lee's mother dressed up as a nun. A nun from some sort of church nearby, I guess. So they even realized that the associate had to be a recognizable face or even a friendly face. Someone that no one would ever suspect has ill intent and would easily let them into the house. So Lee's mother, posing as a nun, would go towards the houses, the front doors of houses, and be like, congratulations, you won. Here's a gift from the church. And it's a doll. a doll resembling, I guess, the kid in the family. So when they open up the creepy-ass doll as a gift, eventually the doll would take over the family and cause absolute mayhem. It would cause, I think, the father to kill the whole family, and then probably himself as well. And Lee's mother has been doing this for years so that her daughter would be spared, so that her daughter would be able to grow up. See, that's where the doll comes back in. How does the doll take control of the family and causes them to all die? Supernatural stuff, that's why. But the question is, Longlegs is now dead. You know, the Satan worshipper is now dead. So Lee's mother has no reason to commit these killings anymore, right? Well, unless I missed something, unless they explained it and I missed it, I guess she just, like, got too invested in her craft now, so she just has to keep continuing. Which I guess if you think about it, kind of makes sense. Despite the guy being dead, well, it's clear that the supernatural thing actually works. And she did make a deal. If I help you do this, if I keep doing this, then you'll spare my daughter. So I guess, despite the fact that Longlegs is dead, she still has to do it to keep her daughter alive and safe. Well, there's the flashback. Lee now wakes up in, of all places, her basement. So it turns out that red room where the dolls are being made is her basement. Longlegs the killer has been in their basement the whole time. You never heard noises down there? You never just straight up went down there? Unless your mother forbid it, and you just never went down there because, I don't know. But yeah, Longlegs has been operating in their basement the whole time, creating these dolls for Lee's mother to bring to houses so that the whole family would be slaughtered. So Lee wakes up in her basement because she hears a phone call. She very, I don't know, drunkenly gets back up, walks up, answers the phone, and this like satanic voice on the other end is like, "You're late to..." What the hell was the kid's name? Ruby. "You're late to Ruby's birthday, the daughter of her boss." You know, remember her? How I mentioned earlier she was invited to the birthday party? So she rushed over with a gun pulled out. It's like, "Is anything wrong?" Carter's like, "No, nothing's wrong. Please, come in." And then it turns out, well, Lee's mother is already there. And she already gave the gift of the doll. So the doll is already doing its work. The family is already, you know, losing their consciousness, I guess, losing their sanity. And man, they're just on the nose with these lines, because Carter and his wife... Was his name Carter? What the hell was his name again? Yeah, Carter. William Carter. Carter's just like, it's time to cut the birthday cake. Come, let's cut the birthday cake with a sharp object. Come, honey, wife, come with me to the kitchen where I will hold a sharp object in my hand to cut the cake. Come with me, dear. And like I said, the doll causes the father of the house to start killing everyone. And I'm just like, let me guess. We're gonna hear some screaming coming from the kitchen, and he's gonna come back covered in blood. And bam, bullseye. Exactly what I predicted would happen. So, no surprise, Lee is now being approached by a mind-controlled guy with a knife in his hand. So what she does is she pulls out her gun and she shoots him. Not exactly in the head, she shoots him in the shoulders. Well, it stopped him at least. But then Lee's mother just sitting there is like, no, the kid must die too, or else we will be burned and twisted for eternity in hell. So she gets up, she pulls a knife out, tries to get up and kills Ruby, the kid. And then Lee has to shoot her own mother in the head to kill her, to stop her from killing the child. So Ruby, on her birthday, both her parents have died. So Lee is just like, come on, honey, let's go. But before she leaves with Ruby, she turns and wants to shoot the doll in the head. Like, shoot the doll. I guess to finish everything off. But then she doesn't. And I think that's where the movie ends. It was an okay film. I'd say I enjoyed it more than I didn't enjoy it. It was definitely a more slower paced movie, a more build-up kind of movie. And a lot of the plot, albeit, was pretty predictable. A lot of the, even like I said, all of the tropes, the jump scares, even I thought they were pretty predictable. You know, there is one character I did not mention in this movie. That's because he had such a small role. He barely was important in the movie. So, there's this guy. So, beginning of the movie. So, the actor Dakota Dalby, I see here. He, first of all, when this guy showed up, goddamn, that jawline. That is one chiseled jaw. You know who his face reminds me of? His chiseled jaw reminds me of? It reminds me of Wilson Bethel. You know, he plays a small character on Daredevil. You know, he plays Bullseye. You want to know what this character's name is in the movie? Agent Fisk. It's almost like this guy being cast in this movie, the writers watch Daredevil. They're just like, this guy kind of looks like this actor. You know what? This actor, let's call him Agent Fisk. I don't know, I just couldn't help but think that. This actor looks like another actor who went up against Wilson Fisk. And his name in the movie is Agent Fisk. It's poetic. But yeah, the reason I didn't mention this character is because so early in the film, there was another entire family murder. So they went and investigate. Lee and this guy, Agent Fisk. So they look around the neighborhood to see, see what there is. Lee looks at this one house and it's just like, he's there. The killer's in that house. Fisk is just like, how do you know? It's like, I don't know. I just do. So then, Agent Fisk is just like, alright, let's go check it out. He knocks at the door, FBI. The door opens, he gets shot in the head. He dies instantly. Not gonna lie, that was kind of surprising. That was unexpected. But then Lee just goes into the house with a gun. I'm just like, that doesn't seem smart. Wouldn't you want to call this in? Call for backup? Because you clearly know the person in there is armed. Wouldn't you want like a whole squad to storm the house instead of you going in yourself? Anyways, there you go, long legs. Throughout this film, I just couldn't help but think like, wow, Nicolas Cage is playing Longlegs? This guy right here This guy here is Superman? This guy here is Spider-Man? Remember, long time ago, Nicolas Cage was going to be Superman, but then that clearly didn't happen. But we did get a very bad CGI version of him as Superman in the Flash movie, so it still counts, kinda. And don't forget, Nicolas Cage, he's still playing Peter B. Parker, Spider-Man in Spider-Noir. That's still Peter Parker, and still Spider-Man. So Longlegs is also both Spider-Man and Superman. You know, if they ever canonize the old Ghost Rider movies to the multiverse, it'd be kind of funny to think that Johnny Blaze's variant is Peter Parker. I'm going to assume that the Spider-Noir show is following the same character from Into the Spider-Verse. I'm just gonna assume that. So that would mean Spider-Noir is canon to the MCU multiverse. Once they canonize Ghost Rider, well, they'll be in the same multiverse. Funny how variants work. Steve Rogers is a variant of Johnny Storm. But there you go, Longlegs. This kind of seems like more of a movie that I would rewatch to really break down, like slowly rewatch the movie and pick out all the small details I missed the first time. Because there were a bunch of like flashing imagery that unless you paused, you can't really make out what they were. Okay, there you go, Longlegs. So unless I watch another movie to break down next time, I should have another episode of The Boys to watch and break down. Give me just a second. Let me see if there's any lights to turn off. Okay, I'm back. And yes, lights everywhere in the house was turned on. The ground floor, upstairs, even lights in the basement were turned on. My dad has this obsession with leaving lights on in the house. Because he believes a bright lit up house will bring in positive energy, bring in good wealth. And I'm just thinking, I don't believe in none of that superstitious crap. All that's doing is just wasting electricity and racking up the electricity bill. So I always have to pick up after my dad and turn off all the lights that he leaves on in the house. The goddamn basement lights! No one's down there! Why do those need to be turned on? Oh, you wanna know something else? Yesterday night, I was not allowed to go out. So, some sort of like Chinese superstitious bullshit, I don't know. For anyone who knows what this is, in Chinese, it's something called a guaizhi. So it's like a ghost month, some sort of like haunting month, I don't freaking know. And it's different from Halloween, where it's like a celebration, like a horror-themed month. No, this is something actually bad, supposedly. Do I give a damn? No. Say it with me now. Nothing ever happens. We don't live in the Marvel world, or the DC world, where if we did, then yeah. Yeah, I would then believe these things would be real. If crazy stuff happened all the time, like actual crazy stuff, I don't mean just wars and stuff. If actual crazy stuff happened all the time, then these superstitious sayings, these superstitious rules, like, you know what? I'm gonna follow them. But because we don't live in that kind of world, it's like, man, all this stupid, superstitious stuff, I don't care. I don't believe in it. And to my surprise, it wasn't just me. My friends were also like, I shouldn't be here tonight. I technically shouldn't be coming out tonight, but I am anyways. It's like, oh, so you guys know about that thing too? This is the first I'm hearing of it. My entire life, this is the first time I'm hearing of it. And yeah, coincidentally, my friends were saying it too. Like, they shouldn't be going out tonight, but they are, because they don't care. So, because I didn't want to ask my dad, because he would give me like an hour-long lecture because I asked my mom instead, like, what does this even mean? I want to know why I'm not allowed to go out. So she broke it down in ways that I didn't entirely understand. Regardless, she kind of said, like, you know, why do we eat mooncake for these reasons? You know, we do something good for something like this, like eating mooncake. But when it's something bad, we do something like we don't go out at night. Which, by the way, yes, it is mooncake season again. I never know when it's mooncake season. I kind of wonder, you know... I wonder if mooncake even factors into, like, white people lives at all. Oh, you want to know one thing? Last time, there was something about Pokemon Go I forgot to mention. And that's that level 80 is coming soon. For what, 5 years, the max level was level 50. And for nearly 5 years, I've been level 43. Just because I couldn't be bothered to battle to get to level 44. Well, I'm at level 44 now. Someone online suggested that all I do is battle someone in the Great League, the Ultra League, whatever, and the other person just has like 10 CP Pokemon, so I just one-shot everything and win until I level up. I never did that because, frankly, I never thought of doing that. And, well, now it's too late. Now it's too late for me to put in the effort to get to level 50 before level 80 comes out. In a way, I don't really care. The sad thing is, had I gotten past level 43 years ago, yeah, I probably would be at level 50 by now. I have more than enough EXP. At level 44, to get to level 45, it's like battle 100 Rocket Grunts or whatever, purify 100 Shadows. Yeah. Had I had all that years ago, I would have long been done with that by now. And another thing, not Pokemon Go. So, the Pokemon TV YouTube channel, well, let me see, have they released it yet? Yeah, they did. They posted Pokemon 3, the movie, the one with Entei and the Unknowns. Now, they posted the first Mewtwo movie, and then they posted Pokemon the Movie 2000, so the second movie. And then they posted this one, Pokemon 3, the movie. And then I thought, wait, did they skip a movie? I could have sworn there was another movie, Mewtwo Returns. Like, did they skip a movie? So I looked it up. I looked up a movie list, and I didn't even see it on the list. I'm just like, am I being gaslit? I could swear there was another movie out there. A movie where Mewtwo returns. So I looked it in. I looked into it. I looked it up. And it turns out it's not a movie. It's an hour-long TV special. Damn, and I don't think they posted that. If they were to post everything Pokemon anime onto this channel, which it seems like they are, for the most part, what about the TV specials? What about the Pokemon shorts? What about... Well, we are years from it, but still. We're gonna get to it at some point. What about, like, the Mega Evolution specials for the X and Y anime? You know? What are they gonna do with stuff that's somewhat outside of the main Pokemon anime, but still connects? Well, they're posting the movies one by one in their entirety, but for a limited time. And you know what? I'm actually gonna watch Pokemon 3 the movie. Now that it's completely available on YouTube, albeit temporarily. Because I'm not gonna lie, it has been a long time since I've seen this movie. Been what, 10, 15 years since I last saw this movie? So I'll watch it again now that it's right there and fully available. A lot of Pokemon movies I have not seen in a very long time, and they haven't released a movie in a long time. Pokemon Forever, that's the one with Celebi. Yeah, that one I haven't seen in a long time either. Pokemon Heroes with Latias and Latios, same thing. Jirachi Wishmaker, same thing. Haven't seen in a long time. Destiny Deoxys, yep, Haven't seen. Lucario and the Mystery of Mew. That one I've seen a ton of times, because that one's a great movie. Pokemon Ranger and the Temple of the Sea. Also haven't seen in a long time. Rise of Darkrai. Giratina and the Sky Warrior. Arceus and the Jewel of Life. Those three movies are pretty great as well. And I love how those three connected. I think that's the first and only time the Pokemon movies connected to other movies. And then Pokemon Zoroark, Master of Illusions. Not gonna lie, that movie was just okay, I think. Yeah, a ton of these movies I haven't seen in a very long time. The last Pokemon movie that actually connected to the anime itself, because I don't want to hear that argument the movies are not connected to the anime. Yes, they are. Regardless if they get referenced or not. Yes, they are. They're connected. Shut up. The last time we had a movie that connected to the anime was Volcanion and the Mechanical Marvel. That was in 2016. That was 9 years ago. Almost 10 years ago. And then, you know, after Gen 6 in the anime, the Pokemon Company completely lost their minds and just derailed. After X and Y, they lost their mind when making Sun and Moon. And then it was just, you know, off tracks from there. Pokemon the movie I Choose You. I think that was the movie that sucked. Right? Was that the 3D one? No, wait. No, that was 2D. That was retelling the first, you know, the first origin stories or whatever. That movie sucked. That movie was awful. Pokemon The Power of Us, forgettable. Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution, forgettable. Secrets of the Jungle, forgettable. And then since then, we haven't had a Pokemon movie since. Ain't that a crime against humanity? We have not had a Pokemon movie that connected in 9 years. And we have not had a Pokemon movie in 5 years. Hold on a second. 1998, 99, 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Wow. So for 22 years straight, they released one movie every single year. They released a movie every single year, and then that broke in 2020. Whether or not that was the pandemic, or let's face it, that was just them changing directions with what they were doing. I'm kind of surprised we don't have another new movie yet with the new cast of characters. But whatever. 'Tis what it is. Okay, well, I don't have a lot more to talk about, so I'm just gonna watch a video. Nice shiny. Every time you say that, you make me worried I may have reset over it. Oh, it's because you do. Every single time, without a doubt. Trust. Well, I'm about to end for tonight. Seems like no shiny again. I'm off to bed. Good luck on your shiny hunt. Well, thanks for being here. And, alright, no shiny tonight. I'm gonna call it there. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys next time, where we will continue to shiny hunt for Giratina. Alright, see you then.